Ever thought a simple swipe right could lead you down a path of betrayal and revenge? This is Shane's story, a story that begins with the promise of a new relationship, but quickly spirals into a complex web of deceit. Shane, once full of hope and excitement in the world of online dating, finds himself entangled in more than he bargained for when he starts a new relationship. With the stunning and charismatic Hazel, this beautiful woman straight from his dreams soon becomes his worst nightmare. Shane's limits are tested and his perceptions of trust and betrayal are challenged. Watch to the end of the video to discover how Shane navigates this tricky situation and turns the tables on his deceitful girlfriend. Let's begin. Shane had achieved two major milestones in his life. The first was graduating college, a significant accomplishment after years of hard work. The second was starting his first job, which he dutifully attended every day. This marked the beginning of a new phase in his life, where he learned to balance work responsibilities with living on his own. For the past 4 years, Shane had put his love life on hold. He was solely focused on excelling in school and landing his first full-time job. Now that he had graduated and settled into his new position, he felt ready to give dating another shot. This led him to download the Tinder app and start meeting new people. Eventually, he was matched with a woman named Hazel on the dating app. She lived in a different city, but happened to be visiting her cousin the same day they matched. They talked through Tinder, and Shane took the extra step of checking out her Facebook and Instagram profiles to verify her identity. He had heard stories about scammers on dating apps, so he wanted to be cautious. After checking out her social media, he felt confident enough to exchange phone numbers with her. For about 2 weeks, Shane and Hazel would chat on the phone every night after he finished work. They hit it off easily, and eventually their schedules aligned so they could finally meet in person. Shane made the drive to Hazel City, and they spent a wonderful Friday evening together. In the bedroom, Hazel was a total firecracker, and Shane couldn't believe the intense chemistry between them. She seemed like the perfect package. Attractive, intelligent, and their personalities just clicked. Hazel seemed too good to be true. The next morning, they had breakfast at a Waffle House. Shane learned more about Hazel during this visit. He found out she lived next to her grandmother, and that her car and apartment were actually under the names of her grandmother and her cousin. Hazel also talked about her past, like her abusive ex-boyfriend, and showed Shane family photos including some of her cousin. There was one thing that grossed him out. Hazel's place was a little messy and dirty, and the laundry room had a problem with flies and roaches. Everything else about her was great, so he thought he could look past the untidiness if that was her only flaw. Shane and Hazel changed their social media statuses to show they were dating. For Shane, this was exciting because it was his first relationship in a long time. After they started dating, Hazel admitted that she had lost her job about a week earlier. She felt embarrassed to tell him at first. When Shane asked how she was handling all her bills, she told him that her grandmother and dad were helping her out with whatever money they could spare, but it wasn't enough. Then she asked Shane if he could help her with her car payment. Shane said no at first. Hazel seemed a little perturbed and shocked that Shane flat out refused her, like she had expected him to just give her the money without complaint. She quickly came up with another idea and suggested getting a payday loan, even though those are not allowed in their state. She wanted to put the loan in Shane's bank account. Shane felt uneasy about this but ended up agreeing to help. He opened a new checking account linked to his main one and gave Hazel the account details. Hazel managed to get a payday loan from a company in Alabama, and the money was deposited into Shane's new account. Shane gave her the money, and Hazel promised to pay back the loan in 2 weeks. However, 2 weeks later, Shane noticed he was charged a fee by the payday loan company. He called Hazel and his bank to figure out what was going on. It turned out Hazel had not paid off the loan as she promised. They planned to meet again during Memorial Day weekend. Hazel told Shane that her dad had given her a check to cover the entire loan amount, $1,800, and she would deposit it in Shane's bank. The banks were closed for the long weekend, and unfortunately the check bounced. Hazel stopped answering Shane's calls and blocked him on everything. Shane realized he was a victim of fraud and called his bank to report it. His bank closed all his accounts, including his main account where his paycheck went, and his savings account where he was saving money for a new car. It was super inconvenient because now he didn't have access to any of his own money. He felt angry and frustrated from the stress and financial loss, but that wasn't the end of the story. Shane's friend George discovered that Hazel had duplicate social media accounts and was already in a relationship with someone else. He sent Shane a photo of her actual boyfriend, who turned out to be the man she had claimed was her cousin in the family photos she had shown him at her place. Turns out, Hazel's real boyfriend was actually in prison, and she had been planning to marry him once he got out. This revelation was a significant shock for Shane. He felt betrayed because trust is so important in a relationship, and Hazel broke that trust by not being honest with him. This betrayal hurt him deeply, especially since he was excited about their relationship. He was disappointed, both in himself for trusting Hazel and in how his first attempt at dating in a while turned out so negatively. But mostly he was angry and he wanted to do something about it. Shane decided to take action against his scamming girlfriend. First, he contacted the apartment complex where Hazel lived, reporting that both her and her grandmother's apartments were filthy and infested with cockroaches. Shane's friend George was still keeping an eye on her socials and reported back that she'd written a post asking around for temporary housing. Next, the payday company had started calling because Hazel had put Shane's number down as the primary contact. He needed to handle the issue with the loan company. When they called him for payment, he explained that Hazel had used his bank account fraudulently. They knew that Hazel's family members also owed them money, so the company's legal department got involved. Shane provided evidence of text messages, the bounced check, and his bank statements to help with their investigation. Finally, Shane pursued legal action. He worked with authorities to press charges against Hazel for fraud and forgery, using the bounced check as evidence. This led to Hazel and her family members getting arrested. Hazel's grandmother and father accepted plea deals and provided evidence against Hazel. In the end, Hazel was convicted on multiple charges and sentenced to more than a decade in prison. He was immensely satisfied to have brought Hazel to justice and reveal her fraudulent activities involving her family and the payday loan company. And at least she and her boyfriend could now experience the joys of prison life together, but still separately, of course. After this experience with Hazel, Shane's approach to dating and relationships in the future will be more cautious and guarded. He would take more time to really get to know someone before trusting them, especially with anything financial. Shane would also be more skeptical about the stories people tell him and try to look for more proof or consistency in what they say and do. He was definitely deleting Tinder from his phone. He would prefer to meet people through friends or in person, rather than relying on dating apps, as this could give him a better sense of who someone really is. Emotionally, Shane knew that from now on it would be harder to trust people right away. He already felt himself becoming a bit hesitant to open up and get too close too quickly, but at least now he was more aware of red flags in relationships and more willing to end things sooner if he sensed something was off. Overall, Shane's experiences with Hazel has made him more careful and thoughtful in his approach to new relationships going forward. And that's all I've got for now. It's been awesome having you here today. If you had a blast watching this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button, smash that like, and ring that notification bell to stay updated with all the exciting content coming your way. Your support fuels my enthusiasm, and I can't wait to share more incredible stuff with you. Thanks a bunch.